What's up, early gang? Double girly gang. Actually, we have a significantly smaller girly gang today, probably because it's the second time we've been live today. Appreciate everybody that comes back today at any point. For those of you watching the VOD, we streamed this morning because it was the Pokemon Presents at 9 o'clock this morning Eastern. And now we're back with some more PokeMondays. That being said, I'll probably wrap up the stream a little bit early today. I'll probably wrap it up a little closer to 3:30, especially because I have a meeting at 4. And because I'd like to do a little bit of preparation for that. And because we already streamed for 30 minutes today. Which that's actually already live on YouTube, which is pretty crazy, isn't it? The internet, man. The internet. It's wild. Swiled. Apostrophe S, swiled. Or S apostrophe wild. Swiled, dude. Swiled, dude. Ay. Well, it's fun. It's all fun. Fun and games. I just realized I need to drop something else over in the Discord, so I'll do that while nobody's here. See if I've deleted this file already. Looks like I might have. No. Or maybe nobody will show up today. Oh no. It's no fun if nobody's here. I was gonna say maybe we'll just do Manga Spice Cafe first. Because TWIG is not fun if nobody's here or the interaction doesn't get to happen. Or we could just play Pokemon White. But my catchy title today won't work. How can I troll people if there's no one here to be trolled? Oh no. Check the Moviga sticker. I now officially have a Moviga sticker on the water bottle. The sticker gang continues to grow. I actually have some new stickers that I've gotten recently that I need to put on there. There's one I just got. Let me see which one's right. But I did get the Bonk Band Hammer. So maybe I'll put the Bonk Hammer on the water bottle. Gotta keep filling it up. Lurk, what's up, Wolfler? Thanks for your lurk. Appreciate ya. Hope that your stream went okay this morning. We were happy to have raided ya on Hunter Fam Moms. Look at that OP setup. Oh yeah. We're feeling good. I really enjoy our set. I think feeling confident in it. I'm sure probably in like May I'll end up redoing all the UI stuff, like all the overlays and stuff. That's normally whenever I get like spring cleaning and for some reason decide to redo everything. I was just editing our best of video in which we did that last year. Bonk right on the handle. I think that was really nice. The bonk, because then it looks like I'm always holding it. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I think that's pretty funny. I think that's a good joke. It's a good bit. Gotta love the guitars. Yeah. So this guitar has never been played like ever. I just think it looks cool. The sunburst is a sweet effect. I play acoustic guitar more than anything, but my brother-in-law wanted to play guitar for like a week and then bought this guitar for himself, and then never wound up liking guitar, never wound up learning. And so he just gave it to me, so I was like, sure. And then this is a cigar box 4-string guitar that one of our level 2 members here at Checkpoint gave me for a graduation present. We went to college together. And he owns like a casino boat in Georgia. And so one of his, like the captain of one of the ships or something along those lines, makes cigar box guitars and had him make one for me. It's sweet. Can't figure out how to play the thing. No clue. No clue how to play the thing. The most I can do is string them all to the key of G and then grab a glass slide and then just kind of let that be like one note strums so I can do like open chords. But I can't figure the thing out. 4 strings is above my pay grade, I guess. I tried tuning it like a uke. That didn't work at all. And so I don't know how to do it. Some people that I've found online say you tune it kind of like I said, where you tune it to an open chord and then just slide up and down and sometimes play with it whenever you can. But like, I think it's more vanity than anything else. And then of course my Taylor. I think we had a conversation. We had a conversation on one of your streams that you're a Martin. I believe you're a Martin man. I'm Taylor man. I love my Taylor. This is the 210. Yeah. 114, not 210. 114 cc. I'm a fan. It's my baby. I've had it since I was in high school and I adore it. Thank you for the follow. Nail Hoodahad. Nail Hoodahad. Welcome in. Nail Hoodahad. Okay. Folks, we're going to do Jeopardy. Oh, wait, no. Ads are literally just starting. After ads, we'll do Jeopardy for anybody that's around. Normally it's 2 minutes on the clock. If people guess, good. If not, then the question goes away. But this will be your chance because our usual Jeopardy participants are not here. So we'll go over that once everybody hops in. Enjoy your ads. Enjoy your ads. I hope they're really good ads and not bad ones. I hope they're really entertaining, funny. I hope they have good bits to them, you know, entertaining in a bit. I'm just trying this new candy. You ever had this candy? The Jolly Rancher Sour Lemonade Stand? They're okay. They're okay one. The red one tastes a little bit like cleaner. I didn't really like the red one, but the blue and the pink are good. And then we'll probably do Manga Spice Cafe first until more peeps hop in. If people don't hop in by the time we're on the other end of Manga Spice Cafe, we'll just do Twig without folks. It's way more fun with folks, but it'll be fine. And then we'll get into Pokemon White and we'll finish out our day with that. Yeah? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ad viewers. You should be back now. Hopefully. We have our new little ad counter thing, so I waited until after for us to start Jeopardy. The way the Jeopardy works for us is it is just first answer in the chat, first person to answer the question in the chat. I'll put 2 minutes on the board. If the question has not been answered correctly in 2 minutes, then it'll just go away. You do not have to put it in the form of a question. It does not have to be a what is scenario. It can just be typed in the chat. So our first Jeopardy category is alliteration for 600 points. Alliteration for 600 points. The answer. The San Francisco treat, Rice-A-Roni, features one of these transports on its boxes. Let's bring up the timer here. 2 minutes on the clock. The San Francisco treat, Rice-A-Roni, features one of these transports on its boxes. And the leaderboard as it stands, Xando is still very much in the lead. But that doesn't mean people can't catch up. Sneaky is exactly half of Xando. That's really fun. You're exactly halfway behind Xando, Sneaky. H-Man is a third. Or a little less than a third. It is Cable Car in over my head. In over my Everyone knows I'm in over my head. Congratulations to Sneaky for those 6 hundo. Chats in the clap. Good guess, and a correct guess at that. All right, our next Jeopardy and our final Jeopardy of the day. The category is alliteration for 1K. 1K on the board. Answer. After rehab for substance abuse, many find it beneficial to temporarily live in one of these residences. And that's almost too easy for 1,000 points. After rehab for substance abuse, many find it beneficial to temporarily live in one of these residences. It is indeed Halfway House. Sneaky. You climbed. You're now 2/3 of the way to Zando's score. You went from half to 2/3 in a single session. That's very impressive. Very, very impressive. All right, timer's going off. And with that, the leaderboard, as it currently stands, is Zando in the lead with 12K 800 points. Second place, we have Sneaky with 8K. And third place, we have Maybe 30 Bats with an even 4K. Chats in the clap for all the participants. Thank you all for playing along. Appreciate ya. And now we're going to open up a Manga Spice Cafe. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hang on just a second. Didn't we just do this? Didn't we literally open Manga Spice Cafe last Monday? And the answer to the question is yes. Yes, we did. I was as surprised as you guys are. I got the January and the February Manga Spice Cafe box within days of each other. So we're going to open up the February Manga Spice Cafe and enjoy it. My stack of manga is going to be reaching my shelf now because I got so many manga on the backlog here. If you've never heard of Manga Spice Cafe is a manga subscription box. They do not sponsor us, but they could. If you stop playing Manga Spice Cafe, I'll do it. I might have to talk to my leadership here, but, you know, they'll be fine. Manga Spice Cafe is a monthly manga subscription box. It delivers 3 manga to your doorstep along with a bunch of Eastern and Asian candies and treats. We get them every single month. I love them. I like it because it gives you 3 different manga that are typically first volumes of new manga series. So you don't have to worry about getting latter volumes or finding things that you've already heard of. These are typically things that I've not heard of. Every now and again, we do get a box that's a little heavy on sequels or a little heavy on like spin-off series from My Hero Academia or whatever. But normally, it's 3 that I've never heard of. And we're going to get into it and find out what is in this month's box for February and also try out some of the delightful little treats. So let me find my pocket knife here. All right. So our February Manga Spice Cafe box, unsurprisingly, is themed around Valentine's Day. This Manga Spice Cafe, the reason they call it that is because it is based off of the maid cafes. And so you always get a cafe maid who welcomes you to the box. This one is about love and passion, so I'm betting a lot of romance manga. This is the 72nd box of Manga Spice Cafe. That's pretty dope. I am Maid Ami-chan. This month's theme is passion. I'm excited for what you see when you see what I packed for you. There's mangas about love, friendship, and following your heart, plus a drink and sweet treats inside. Well, let's find out before we even get anything spoiled for us in the magazine. Let's look at exactly what we got inside. A nice theme here. You pull up the tissue paper. I already see Anya. Oh, that's very fun. So we already got a little Anya treat in here, and we're gonna find out what's inside, yeah? They always give you some kind of ramen. This time the ramen is Pancit Canton Chow Mein, Philippine lemon flavor. I love it. Sounds delish. Let's see. Strawberry flavored milk tea from Hawaii. Now, is that still considered Eastern? Is Hawaii still Eastern? I don't even know. I always think of Hawaii as being Western because the way I would probably get there is going through California. Let's see. Honey butter potato chips. Honey butter potato chips is our snack. Got to be our first savory there. Spy X Family Anya Lifesavers, it almost looks like. I don't know if they're officially endorsed lifesavers, but they look like little pink lifesavers. Hoping that's a sweet one. There is a new Pokemon something. Some kind of Pokemon treat, a wafer. Some kind of Pokemon wafer. It's almost like it's PokeMondays or something. How'd they know? How did they know it's PokeMonday? They gave me a straw. Why did they give me a straw? Oh, it's in the shape of a heart. That's super cute. Well, they gave me a straw in the shape of a heart, but I don't know why. So I guess we'll have to read the little explanation to find out why. Only one Goemon this month, it looks like. Just one Goemon little treat here. And no Goemon on it. Fruity Boba Mochi. A little mochi snack. Should be fun. And then I can't tell if this is a sweet or savory. It's got an egg on it, so I'm going to guess savory little cake here. Savory little egg soft cake. I actually really don't like egg, so I'm not very excited for that at all. Not even a little bit. Maybe it'll be better than I think it'll be. I hope so. All right, now, for what are our manga? What manga did we get this month? Let's find out. First manga of the month is... Oh, there were my points. Another thing you should know is you always get 10 points with every single box. Whenever you get 120 points, you get a free box. So every year, you get one free box as long as you save your points and mail them in. Okay, here's the first one. Shoha Shoten by Akanari Asakura and Takeshi Obata. I know Takeshi Obata. Takeshi Obata, is that Death Note? Who's Obata-san? Is that not Death Note? Okay, hang on. We'll find out in just a second. Okay, Shai Azamichi Shijima has secretly been studying the art of comedy. His outgoing classmate Taiyo Higashikata has big dreams of being funny, but no follow-through. When the two team up, they just might take the comedy world by storm. Higashikata ropes Shijima into performing in a comedy duo with him at a school show. Inspired by their guaranteed success, Higashikata asks Shijima to join him in an audacious dream to rise to the top of Japan's comedy scene by winning major events in both stand-up and sketch comedy. I didn't even know there was a Japanese comedy scene, so I am on board to learn more. Couple of funny boys. There's a couple of funny boys in this manga. I know the name Obata. What is Obata from, dude? I mean, I know that name, though. Takeshi Obata. I feel like it's Death Note. Okay, we're going to look it up in a minute. Our next one is Oshi no Ko. Oshi no Ko. I feel like this looks very familiar as well. Why do I keep seeing all these familiar ones? Nope, not familiar. This is by Aka Akasaka and Mingo Yokoyari. Garu is an OBGYN with a life far removed from the glitz and glamour of the entertainment industry. The world of his favorite idol, rising star Ai Hoshino. But when the two are unexpectedly brought together, their fates become intertwined in ways that defy all reason. For the good doctor, it's time to stand and deliver. Okay. All right. I don't understand, but okay. All right. And our final one is Rainbow Days. Rainbow Days. This might be BL, dude. Rainbow Days is by Minami Mitsuno. These four friends couldn't be more different. Natsuki Hashiba, a dreamer who longs for love. Tomoya Matsunaga, a self-centered playboy. Keiichi Katakura, a winsome guy with a hidden saucy streak. And Tsuyoshi Nao, a socially awkward nerd who loves anime, manga, and games. Together, their high school days are as vibrant as rainbows. Excited to have plans on Christmas Eve, Natsuki feels like he's finally catching up to his friends who are in relationships. But when the night doesn't go as expected, the stage is set for falling in love. Yeah, maybe BL. Might be BL. Oh, it's a one-off. I think it might be a one-off. Curious. All right, well, let's do our usual and find out if we came out on top or not with this one. So, we have two Viz Medias for $10 each, and then we have a Yen Press for 13 buckaroos. So that adds up to $33. So we are coming out pretty much even again this month. As some of you that have watched our past Manga Spice Cafes know, these usually cost around $35. And so $2 short, but we also get all these snacks. So we're coming out pretty even. Not a bad month. I don't know how necessarily interested I am in any of these. I'm probably most interested in the comedy one. Showa Shoten sounds interesting enough. I'll read all three of them and let you know. If you want to find out my thoughts on these manga, be sure to go follow me on Goodreads, !NerdPastor8, !NPN. Either one of those will bring up my link tree. You can find me on Goodreads, and I'll post my thoughts there. Man, I'm serious. My stack O manga has gotten insane. All right. Let's look through this magazine to see if there's anything else we need to know. Hikaru no Go. Hikaru no Go. That's where I know Takeshi Obata from. So I do at least know Hikaru no Go. It's a very good manga out there if you've never heard of it. It looks like Rainbow Days will have more volume, so it's not a one-off. Cool. Oh wow! So the one about the OBGYN also is the person who did Kaguya-sama Love is War. That's huge. That's all I know. That's all I recognize. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Rainbow Days and Oshinoko are set to air during the spring 2023 anime lineup. Okay. I'll look into it. Let's see if we should know anything about our treats. We have Honey Buddy potato chips, wafer and corn roll, tropical sweets, and strawberry milk tea. The straw is just for the milk tea. Curious. I don't think I really need it. Okay. The way I like to normally do these is I start with the savory and work my way into the sweet. So we're going to start with our honey butter potato chips and see what we think about those. I've already had lunch and I'm really not hungry, so this is not really doing it for me. Honey butter potato chips. Itadakimasu. Ooh. Well, it tastes like mashed potatoes. The honey and the butter do give a very, very strong mashed potato taste. Wow. Under the license and the strictest quality control of Calbee Incorporated. I feel like intimidated. Okay, that's fine. If you like chips, do you like them to be sweet? If you like them to be sweet, then you'd like that. If you don't like them to be sweet, probably don't. Probably don't do that. All right, next up is our little Gomon snack here. A little corn puff snack. Looks like sour cream. They're always kind of the same. One of these days, I want one of these to just blow my mind. Wow, that tastes like a corn on the cob. I might as well have just bit into a corn on the cob. It was even like juicy like a corn on the cob. Wow. Nothing to write home about for that one. Probably the one I'm the most nervous about is this little egg, this egg puff treat. So I guess we'll try that one next. Dolly Foods, don't know where it's from. Can't find any transliterated language, so I don't know where this is from at all. I don't know about this. I don't know about this one. All right, it is just turn up, just a little cornbread puff. Cheers. It's sweet. What does it taste like? It tastes like something. It tastes very familiar. I don't know, but that is such a familiar taste. It's almost like strawberry shortcake without the strawberries, but still with the whipped cream. Very similar vibe. Very similar vibe. Okay, not as bad as I was expecting. Now we'll try our strawberry flavored milk tea. See how that is for us today. Made in Hawaii. Hope I wasn't supposed to shake. Was I supposed to shake? I was supposed to shake. It'll be fine. Yep. That's milk tea. Tastes good. I like strawberry milk tea. That was a nice palate cleanser. A nice little amuse-bouche in between the different treats. So I can take that. All right, let's try our Pokemon wafer, yeah? A wheat cracker. Oh, maybe this was, no, it says Choco. Okay, so it was sweet. It was sweet. I got a little bit worried there that it might be not so sweet. Oh, it's like sugar wafers. Yeah, it looks just like a little sugar wafer with a little chocolate sandwich in between instead of the vanilla. That's cheap chocolate. That's Hershey's right there. That's Hershey's cheap chocolate. Next up, Fruity Boba Mochi. I do love mochi. This is mango flavored this time. If you've never seen mochi before, it smells way too syrupy. There's your little mochi. It's a little more powdery than I'm used to. It's a little concerning. It's probably fine. Oh. That's mango mochi. That's okay. All right. Actually, I don't really like that. Not a fan. Not a good one. It was way too syrupy. Something really syrupy happened in there that I didn't like. All right. Hopefully Anya can save the day. Let's see if Spy X Family can do it for me. I almost don't want to ruin this bag because it's so cute. I might just cut the top off. Yeah, that way I can still enjoy the treat and keep the bag. I almost threw my skizzers away. I mean, these are straight up just lifesavers. They're straight up just lifesavers. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There we go. Straight up just little pink lifesavers. Give them a try. They're thicker. They're thicker than a lifesaver. Thicker and more squared edges. Mmm. It's a good flavor. Ooh. Next time looks spooky. The black box returns next month. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? It says mixed fruit flavors, so I guess I just got one of the flavors. Okay. Nice. Well, there you go. There's Manga Spice Cafe. Chats in the clap for a pretty good Manga Spice Cafe. I would say I'm glad that all three manga I've never heard of. They're new to me. New entries, all first volumes. I don't have to have any prior reading or knowledge of any of them. That's a win for me. It still came in a little under my $35 expectation, but you know, with the food and the snacks and the delivery and all that stuff, pretty fair. Pretty fair pricing, pretty fair job. Good job, Manga Spice Cafe. So now let's turn it over to YouTube. If you're here on Twitch, say hi, YouTube, as we greet our YouTube people. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. Odds are you probably like this kind of content. So let me know if you watched this far in the video that you liked this kind of thing by clicking that thumbs up. Let me know this is one that you enjoyed. You want to see more Manga Spice Cafe content. We'd love to continue bringing it to you. And we believe three things to be true about every single one of you watching this video, regardless of whether or not you believe in God, don't believe in God, go to church, don't go to church. We still believe these three things to be true. Number one, God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number two, we love you, want community with you. That's what we're doing here. And number three, that you, yes, you, no matter who you are or what you've done, you matter. You are a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, with that, until the next time that I see ya, bye-bye! And welcome back to Twitch. The candy was in my cheek the entire time. It's making it very difficult to talk. I'm gonna have to bite into it. All right. I guess we're going to have to do Twig without people, which is so sad. It's so sad, but it is the way it is. It is the way it is. Let's turn on our Twig theme music and get right into the news. Here we go. Welcome to Twig. Oh. That's always funny. All right, let's see if I can find it. It should have just saved. Boop. Hello all, what's up, Pineapple Pope? All right, now welcome to Twig. All right, right, welcome to The Week in Geek. These are all the good things happening this month, or this week rather, in the geek world. So we're going to go over some of the highlights of the week. We're going to talk about things that we played, and we're going to be talking about some news that was submitted to the Discord, as well as some fun facts of things released in history, and then also talk about some games coming out in the future. So that is our game plan for today. I'm enjoying some milk tea a la Manga Spice Cafe. What's up, Weesh? Just in time. So we're going to get right into Twig and some of the things to talk about. The first one, the way we always start. Well, hang on. Before we even get started, should we talk about the headline? Should we talk about the title of this episode? It is not actually the last Twig to ever happen. It's the last Twig on Mondays. We're going to be moving Twig to Thursdays because we've had somebody say that would work better for their schedule to potentially hop on, and I got no qualms. So we're going to try Thursdays now. We're going to see if Thursdays are a better day for us. If they are, good. If they're not, then we'll figure it out. Wait, why are we waiting? Also, where did your smiley face, Better TV, when did that start happening? The 4 a.m. Thursday stream. I think it's probably going to be around 10 our time, so 7 y'all's time. 10 or 11, depending on when anybody's able to be there. But if I have the opportunity for people to hop on, then I won't be able to hop on. So we're gonna try that, but that'll be the new game plan. If it works, great. We'll keep it on Thursdays. If it doesn't work, then we still have Tuesdays. If none of those days works, then I'll think about adding a whole nother day just for Twig. But we got to figure it out. But there's also a chance of like pre-recording, but I feel like it's so much more fun to have the conversations around it. So let me know your thoughts, especially if you're watching the VOD after the fact. Do drop in the comments of this VOD. Let me know. What would be your preference? I guess if you're the VOD watchers, it doesn't really matter because you're watching the VODs. It doesn't really work, does it? Whatever. Still let me know your thoughts because I want to know all the thoughts. I want to know what people think. I'm all for ideas and feedback, and so let me know. I do care about you, the YouTube frogs, as Bleach calls you. I do care about you. And the VOD Andes. We have 2 channels, so we got both of them. Twig goes up in both places. Of course, if you want the edited down Twig, then you should check out our YouTube channel, our main channel. Okay, so we always start Twig with what did you watch, play, or read this weekend? Because on Fridays, our question of the day is asking people what do you plan to watch, play, read, and do this weekend. Now is time for follow-up. So accountability. What did you actually do this weekend? Let me see what I said I was going to do. What did I say I was going to do this weekend? Let's see. My plan was I had no clue what I was going to watch. I said I was going to finish House of the Spirits. I said I was going to play Dragon Quest XI, and I said I was going to look at all the constant rain. Thank goodness it actually didn't rain that much. It was not too bad. I did end up watching something, but it wasn't really a show. I finished the playthrough of Weeby News playing Ace Attorney and her Let's Play, so I guess that's something. I did finish a Let's Play. It's so easy to have that on in the background, especially whenever you're playing another game, and whenever you know Ace Attorney so well that really all you're listening for is like the big reactions. Like I just wanted to know how she was going to react to certain twists and turns. And so that worked out. She just finished the first game. We'll see when she finishes second and third or when she starts them up. But I think she has intentions of playing the whole trilogy of the first little arc. And I love Ace Attorney. I'm a stan for sure. I like Phoenix Wright a whole lot and really enjoy his story. I'm still stuck on, what's it called? Spirits of Justice. I'm stuck on that one just because it feels a little racist and I really can't get past that. It really just like, Ace Attorney does a really good job of making puns with names, and they always have. And then Spirits of Justice, they just like got really, really sketchy with the names because you're in a different nation, and it almost feels a little bit like they're making fun. Now, granted, I mean, it's a false nation. It's not like it's something that actually exists, but go look up the names of the first chapter of Ace Attorney, Spirit of Justice, and let me know if you think they might just be a little racist. With that, what did I read? I did finish House of Spirits. I did finish that up. That was an interesting one. It was from my 1001 Books to Read Before You Die. Man, that book went everywhere and all the places. I feel like that is a wonderful book for a history class, especially just as like a look at how cultures can potentially experience communism and the political divisiveness that happens within a family. Powerful stuff. Good book. Recommend reading it. Are you looking at the names, Buish? Yeah, it's bad. It's really rough. Okay. And I did play Dragon Quest XI. I'm about 11 hours in now, and it's good. It's a good game. It is an interesting game in the sense that like I'm almost to the point now where I'm considering just letting the hero, my main character, I'm considering just letting him fight auto rather than actually worrying about doing the turn-based stuff. It's not that it's pretty easy. I was gonna say it's not that it's easy, but it absolutely is easy. It's a really easy game. It's kind of a baby game, a little baby game for babies, and so I'm having trouble like actually caring about the grind. And so I wonder if there's a chance that I might just turn on kind of a grind mode and just go run into a bunch of baddies and let my hero take down people, rank up some points, and unlock some cool moves. And then worry about turning off that autopilot whenever I get to like a boss battle or something. But even the boss battles, I finished first try. I have yet to lose in Dragon Quest. And that's a little bit of a bummer, so I don't know. We'll see. But I'm enjoying it enough to hopefully play through to the end of the story. As I understand it, it's like 50 hours, so I'm a fifth of the way through. And yeah. I'll keep playing it. Plan on keep playing it. With that, let's move into, in case you missed it, some headlines and things that are going on in the world of video games, anime, nerddom in general. Some exciting stuff going on. The first one is kind of hard to pass up, is the Sony State of Play. So if you missed, they had a huge Sony State of Play last week, and these were all of the things that they announced. I saw a lot of people saying it was kind of mid, and I get that. Like, I think that there was definitely some like pretty exciting announcements people were wanting, but I actually was pretty hyped about it. I thought it was pretty good, especially the things that we did get about PSVR. I am not sure about VR2 yet. I'm not sure, but the games that they announced looked interesting enough, and I'm especially excited about one that we actually have a full playthrough over on our YouTube channel because I really enjoyed this game a lot. So first off, they did an extended look over at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I could not be less excited about this game. I'm hopeful for this game, but I'm not excited about it because it is very similar to Forspoken with me. I feel like they were announced at about the same. I think they were announced at the same E3. I could be wrong about that, but I definitely feel like they were. And Forspoken and Suicide Squad, they were talked about too much. It's like they just kept talking about them and never releasing them. And I don't want to see another trailer. I don't want to see the same footage again. I don't want to hear the same characters. I want the game to come out, or I don't want to hear about it anymore. That's kind of how I feel about it. I'll probably give it a shot as long as it does okay. If it's like Gotham Knights and everybody just critically pans it, I might just sleep on this one as well. And that bums me out because I love Rocksteady and I love Arkham and I would love for this game to actually be good. But hoo boy, did they pick all the characters that I could never care about. Okay. Also, Capcom announced trailers for 3 of their new Street Fighter 6 characters. One in particular was Zangief, which has made our good friend Zando very excited. I think that he said he's seen the trailer for Zangief alone like dozens of times at this point. And so I'm excited for Zando to have his Street Fighter 6 moment, and hopefully this game turns out to be a bit of a cultural impact of fighting games like Street Fighter 5 was, where it was kind of everywhere the year that it came out. Baldur's Gate 3 was announced to launch on August 31st. You did. The ads are there. The ads are there. 3 of 3. It's working. It's working. Baldur's Gate 3 launching on August 31st. No thoughts there. Resident Evil 4 trailer confirms Mercenaries mode. Again, cool. I think RE4 is going to be fun. I'm excited to have it in like higher quality. I just hope they don't change too much about it. Bungie reveals Destiny 2 Lightfall launch trailer again. The 5 PSVR games. This is what I was thinking about. 5 PSVR games. There's the Foglands, which is kind of like a sci-fi Western FPS roguelike experience. I'm nervous about roguelikes on VR, but sure. Why not give them a shot? There was Green Hell VR, which kind of looked like Uncharted, but in VR. Sure, why not? Adventure games are where it's at. Synapse, or Synapse, depending on how you want to say it, looked a little bit like Control meets VR, which I don't even know if there was a Control in VR. But it looked very similar to that kind of vibe. Journey to Foundation is based off of a book by Isaac Asimov. Series, really, a universe by Isaac Asimov. So more of that. It looks like it's going to be pretty true to form, trying to recreate that experience of the book. So it'd be kind of like 1984 turned into a video game. Be pretty cool. But with robots instead of with Big Brother. Robots instead of cameras. So if you like Asimovian stories, if you like that kind of robot story, then odds are you're going to get an okay one there. I don't know if it would be quite as deep as some of the other stories that have taken Asimov's ideas, but yeah, it'd be neat. And then, most excitingly for me, Before Your Eyes is going to be hitting VR scene, and man, does that game just make sense on VR. If you missed us playing that game, that was in our very first year at Checkpoint. The shtick with the game is that it actually tracks your eyeballs through your webcam. So you have to sync up a webcam, and every time you blink, the scene progresses forward to the next scene. So you live another person's life through blinking. You make the decisions that you make, and so there's eye tracking through VR, so it's literally going to know when you blink more accurately than a webcam ever could, and it's going to be doing it through the game itself. Makes so much sense. Is it worth is it worth $1,000 for a PS5 and a PSVR 2? No, it is not worth $1,000. Go buy yourself a webcam and a Steam account. But if you're getting a PS5 and you're getting PSVR 2, you should play Before Your Eyes because it's on track to be one of the best VR games of all time. That might be a bit selling it over, but it's really good. A great experience and a unique one in the sense that it plays with blinking. Until we get another blinking game, this one's pretty cool. Let's see. Tetris Effect revealed a new game. If you never played Tetris Effect for real, gorgeous, especially in VR. Tetris Effect is developing a new project called Humanity. Chia is a Wind Waker spiritual successor that's hitting the PlayStation Plus extra tier. Goodbye Volcano High is the one I'm the most excited about. Some of you know very well that I love my indie games, and you know that I love coming-of-age stories, and you know that I love narrative games. And that is all three. So, Goodbye Volcano High is definitely going to be on my sphere. I'm going to be buying it. I'm going to be playing it. Odds are on this stream, probably on Thursday. So look forward to that coming June 15th. Nardo Ex Bardo, nobody cares and nobody should care. And I wish that he would stop. New trailer for Digital Extreme and Airship Syndicate's Wayfinder. I know nothing about that one. That's just a headline. So I'm purely reading for that one because I have no hot take on that one either. So there you go. That was our state of play. And I agree. You know, there are definitely some highlights that I would have preferred. There were some game names that I would have liked to have seen. But on the other hand, we've already had God of War. We've already had Horizon. They just launched PSVR 2. So Sony's really already done like a lot of their big ticket items. And we'll have to wait a while before we start seeing more of them trickle out because kind of been a bit. I guess the next thing that we should expect to see would be things that we started to see at the beginning of the PS5 cycle. Like we won't get a new RE this year. Maybe not even next year. We might get an announcement for RE9 next year. Maybe. They're kind of running out of room also. There's no real need for them to remake RE5 and RE6 because they were panned. Man. Yeah, Resident Evil's in a weird spot. So Capcom will have to see what they do and what they decide to do going forward, but not much to offer other than this stuff, honestly. And so I think considering that they didn't have that much to offer, this is a pretty good state of play. I like that they highlighted an indie game. Several indie games. Good for you, Sony. Good for you highlighting indie games because that's a way you can be more like Xbox because Xbox does it way better than you. Next up is IGN reported that the new Lord of the Rings movies are on the way. They're wanting to work on new Middle-earthian stories for whatever reason. I don't really know why. I don't know why we're returning to these movies. I'm really just okay with Lord of the Rings, so I'm not that excited about it. But apparently, it's rising up a whole lot of feelings from a whole lot of people who are either really excited about it or really not excited about it. So I could go either way, but it's happening, and hopefully, it's better than we expect. The DICE Awards happened, and the 2023 winners are as follows. Outstanding Achievement in Animation, the winner was God of War Ragnarok. Outstanding Achievement in Art Direction, you guessed it, God of War Ragnarok. Outstanding Achievement in Character, God of War Ragnarok, Kratos. Outstanding Achievement in Original Music Composition, say it with me, God of War Ragnarok. Outstanding Achievement in Audio Design, any guesses? That's right, it's God of War Ragnarok. Outstanding Achievement in Story, who could it be? It's God of War Ragnarok. Outstanding Technical Achievement, it's Elden Ring. Elden Ring is the one that got the technical achievement, so at least they gave up one for Elden Ring there. Action Game of the Year, hilarious, is Vampire Survivors. I fell on the ground whenever I first read that one. Vampire Survivors won Action Game of the Year. Adventure Game of the Year. Oh, look, it's back. God of War, Ragnarok. Family Game of the Year, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Fighting Game of the Year, Multiversus. Racing Game of the Year, Gran Turismo 7. Role-Playing Game of the Year, Elden Ring. Sports Game of the Year, Ollie Ollie World. Strategy and Sim Game of the Year, Dwarf Fortress. Immersive Reality Game of the Year, Red Matter 2. Outstanding Achievement for an Independent Game was Tunic. I can give that to it. I think it's very funny that Vampire Survivors didn't win that one, but did win Action Game. I could almost flip-flop those. Mobile Game of the Year, Marvel Snap, nobody's surprised. Online Game of the Year was Final Fantasy XIV. Outstanding Achievement in Game Design, not God of War Ragnarok, but instead Elden Ring. Outstanding Achievement in Game Direction, again, much to the dismay of Weish, is Elden Ring for Game Direction. So, those are your categories. Those are your DICE Awards. Honestly, I never thought I would say this, but wow, the Game Awards did better than the DICE Awards this year. Definitely. Like, unequivocally so. Do they have a Game of the Year? If they do, it wasn't on this list. Let's look again. I don't think so. I don't know if they do a GOTY at the DICE. It's just achievements. No, see, the way they do their GOTYs is they break them down by category. So there was RPG of the Year, Sports Game of the Year, Strategy Game of the Year, Immersive Reality of the Year, Mobile of the Year, Online of the Year. That's how they do their ODs. They have several ODs. Okay, another big news piece this week that most people have heard about is the Microsoft and Nintendo contract, specifically around bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo consoles for 10 years. I said this last week. I'll say it again this week. This is 100% about the lawsuit with Activision and Sony. If you think that it's about anything other than that, I don't know. You must just not be in the scene, because it's so obvious at this point. Every single piece that you hear about Microsoft for the next couple months is going to be all about how they're trying to appease Sony in this Activision lawsuit and prove that they're not better and prove that they're not trying to create some kind of monopoly. So this lawsuit is so interesting in the sense that it's spawned a whole lot of gentle nudges forward in demonopolizing the games industry. But at the same time, signing a 10-year contract to Nintendo is really not that much of a demonopoly. It really is just kind of the big three continuing to shake hands and point at each other like the Spider-Mans in the meme. It's not any huge deal. Okay, right? I guess if you really want Call of Duty on your Switch, then good news, it's coming. You're going to get Call of Duty on the Switch. It's going to be here. At least for 10 years. At least for 10 years, you can expect it. But yeah, definitely some weird stuff. More games to more people, and that is the best it can be. Like Minecraft, exactly. And it works out. It does what it needs to do. I'm optimistic. I think that the lawsuit is nasty. It's pretty obvious that there's a lot of weirdness about this whole situation. But I have no qualms with Sony, nor do I have any qualms or concerns about Microsoft. I think it just is kind of what we're dealing with. It's just the life of being a gamer. Is it actually going to impact you? Probably not. The biggest concern is, will it impact the workforce? And that's my bigger concern. But right now we're seeing that we only have so much control over that anyway, with tech layoffs and things like that. So we don't really have a say over that anyway. We just have to hope for the best and hope that the CEOs that we are paying to line their pockets might be able to do the best they can and hopefully keep things above board. And that's about all we can hope for. That's all we can do. We can buy the games, we can do the things, we can hold people accountable that we need to, like we're doing over at Blizzard. And at the end of the day, you only really have whatever say you got. And unfortunately, I know that's kind of a fatalistic way of viewing things, but we have bigger fish to fry. We have bigger things to do and bigger things to talk about. And our bigger focus, at least at Checkpoint, is taking this media that's being created and using it for the glory of God, not so much the actual organizations themselves. I'm less concerned about the organizations and more concerned about the media itself and how it impacts us and affects us. Because odds are we're being affected by media more than we're being affected by those producing the media. So, yeah, cool. All right. Now we're going to move on to the Discord. We actually do have a piece of submitted news this week from our one and only Stained Glass Rebel, who submitted a little piece about AI officially having a ruling, I think I was going to say California, but I was just kind of speaking out of turn there, with the U.S. Copyright Office. So we officially have heard back from the U.S. Copyright Office lawsuit. If you're unfamiliar with kind of the background on this, there was a comic book artist that created a graphic novel in which they wrote the story of the graphic novel, but used Midjourney to create the full experience of the art behind the project. You've probably seen this done a million times. To me, it feels a little bit like VFriends, and so I'm a little nervous about it because I think that the AI art telling graphic novel stories feels a little cringy, but hey, you know, to each their own. There is a twist of irony in this story that we're going to learn a little bit later, but I'll just read some of the highlights. So the decision of the U.S. Copyright Office has ruled against protection of AI copyrights for generated works, be they art, writing, or music. Pretty big deal. Those are the three they ruled against. Art, writing, or music are not protected under copyright if they have been AI generated. This decision came in response to a copyright application for a comic called Zarya of the Dawn, which I just mentioned, which contained original writing but visual art generated by Midjourney, an AI program. In an official statement, as stated in the compendium of the U.S. Copyright Office Practices, 3rd edition, 2021, the office will not register works produced by a machine or mere mechanical intervention from a human author. The crucial question is whether the work is basically one of human authorship, with the computer or other device merely being an assisting instrument, or whether the traditional elements of authorship in the work, literary, artistic, or musical expression, or elements of selection, arrangement, etc., were actually conceived and executed not by man, but by a machine. That's the first quote. What's notable here is art, writing, and music are not protected under copyright. They are not protected on behalf of the machine, nor are they protected on behalf of the person that typed in the prompts. Those are important factors because it means on both sides of the AI contemplation, you are not protected. If you are going to go into making AI content, yourself, typing into Midjourney and creating your own pictures, they are not your pictures. Nor could you get in trouble for putting them in your product, but they're not your pictures either. So that's something to know. If you are interested in creating an AI that creates things, the things that your AI creates are also not yours. Important to know whether or not I agree it makes sense, Bleach, but I think to some, this is confusing, especially to the plaintiff in this case, because they go on to quote the actual person that is on the other side of this that intends to appeal this decision. You would think they wouldn't appeal because it makes sense, right? But they are appealing, and here's the quote. I was disappointed in one aspect of the decision. The Copyright Office didn't agree to recognize my copyright of the individual images. I think that they didn't understand some of the technology, so it led to a wrong decision, Kashnatova wrote on Instagram Wednesday. It is fundamental to understand the output of a generative AI model depends directly on the creative input of the artist and is not random. My lawyers are looking at our option to further explain to the Copyright Office how individual images produced by Midjourney are direct expression of my creativity and therefore copyrightable. So there you go. That's where we're at now. So this case is certainly not the be-all, end-all, but it is an important step forward as we continue to figure this out. It's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be tricky as we continue to figure this out going forward, because if Zarya of the Dawn, the images are not copywritten, then what's to stop me from downloading this graphic novel, erasing all of the text, and filling in the speech bubbles with my own story? Well, then I'm using something that's not copywritten and using my creative rights to retell this story in my own likelihood, in my own likeness, however I want to, and I can charge for it. So I create a new copyright on my words to their uncopyrightable graphic content. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be stressful. I think if you are somebody that wants to get into the industry of AI creation or AI content creation, then you need to know these things. You need to be aware of the ramifications of these decisions as they continue to be made. Might change the future if AI gets granted personhood like companies. And that certainly could happen. It's all going to depend on how upset Midjourney gets about this, or companies like Midjourney that want to lay down their hand of the law. Currently, it looks like most AI creators are not harping on it. But this is really tough. And the more hustlers that we see getting into the AI content creation industry, the more the law is going to be brought into the conversation. And so it's going to get to the point that it's going to be so many conversations happening around this topic that some decisions are going to have to be codified, right? Like they're going to have to be laid into law. And so this is an appellate like situation where this is something to fall back on, but this is not a landmark case yet. But it could get there. If Zarya of the Dawn's creator continues to push for this and continues to appeal, and this gets up to a Supreme Court level, I don't think it would, but if it did, then this could be a landmark case. So we could be on the cusp of a landmark case in AI if things continue as they are. And I don't know what our Supreme Court would currently do. Our current makeup and body of the Supreme Court would be confused. Common law is already confusing enough, and the way that these things are handled have a lot to do with a claim, and that's going to be bizarre as well. Yeah. We're in a tough spot. I am excited for my kids and people their age. They're going to be growing up and taking common law courses in 25 years that are going to be learning about how AI communications were codified into our copyright law proceeding. So there you go. Fun news. Thank you to Stained Glass for submitting that news. If you have more thoughts on that, let me know down below. Or better yet, join us on our Discord for those kind of conversations. And if you want to submit news, feel free to do that either on our Discord or directly to our link, which is bit.ly/DearTwig, DearTwig, bit.ly/DearTwig. Let us know what your exciting news is, and we would love to hear that. With that, we're going to move on to one of our favorite parts of this show of Twig, which is at the... Oh, hang on. Wait.
At this point in nerd history.
All right, so what happened at this date, on this exact date of 2/27, February 27th, throughout history, throughout time? A pretty exciting one, actually. As some of you may or may not know, today is Pokemon Day. And the reason it's Pokemon Day is because Pokemon Red and Green were originally released in Japan on this day in 1996. So, fun fact, if you didn't know that, 1996, that was quite a long time ago. Exciting years of growth, and I'm excited for the future of Pokemon and for where things continue to go. You may notice that our Pokemon Presents did not end up in our, in case you missed it today, and that's because you didn't really miss much. Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Cafe got an update, and we are getting new legendaries in Violet and Scarlet, and we're also getting DLC later this year. So it was kind of a snooze fest. Now that was mid. The state of play was not mid compared to the Pokemon Presents. Okay, so Pokemon Red and Green came out in 1996. In 2001, on this day, The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages dropped in Japan. In 2007, Peggle released. In 2017, a little-known game that you may have slept on, but I would encourage you to go play it, especially if you like Stranger Things or if you like The Twilight Zone. You should play this game called Stories Untold, launched in 2017. I can't believe that game is already 6 years old. A great little horror jaunt, kind of Edith Finchian-esque indie game. Totally worth your time. Go play it. And then the year after that, Into the Breach, another little indie darling, released in 2018. Movies, there weren't any movies or TV shows that actually released on this day in history that I thought were relevant. However, the founding of a movie production company is actually set as today, back in 1996, the same day that Pokemon Red and Green launched, which is pretty crazy to think that these two things happened asynchronously, or synchronously, not asynchronously. Happy Madison Yeah, so believe it or not, Adam Sandler's Happy Madison was forged today on the same day that Pokemon Red and Green. So that's just a fun fact for anybody that likes Adam Sandler a whole lot. Happy Madison was forged on the same day as Pokemon Red and Green were released in Japan. So now you know. That's a more you know rainbow moment, and that has been
At this point in nerd history.
Okay. With that, we're going to move on to our second to last, our penultimate segment of the show. Upcoming releases for the week. Not too much exciting happening this week. Honestly, kind of a sleeper week for us nerds as far as things go. They've given us a little bit of wiggle room to play some other games that have come out in the past month. February was a big month. We got to be real about that. Wolong Fallen Destiny